Welcome to Ubc News Tonight. My name is Sharon Chumdisha with Nakakoni Elizabeth on Sign Language. We will take a look at the headlines. Museveni contributes 300 million to Orthodox Church. Entrepreneurs call for one-stop center. Pope Francis visits Orthodox Church. She cranes beats Zimbabwe 57-53 in friendly. In our top stories today, President Yoweri Museveni has congratulated the Orthodox Church in Uganda upon the attainment of 100 years since the faith was started in the country. The president was speaking today during the laying of the foundation stone for the construction of Hagia Sophia Orthodox Church that also marked the launching of 100 years festivities of Orthodox Christianity in Uganda. Now, the program of constructing the 2,500 seaters cathedral is projected to cost $4.5 million, to which President Museveni pledged 300 million, out of which he paid 30 million on cash. Mr. Museveni also made a further pledge of 80 million towards the Orthodox Church Development Commission and 20 million for the priests. Now, the ceremony of the Divine Liturgy that took place on Lubya Hill in Kampala was presided over by the Archbishop of Kampala Metropolitan, His Eminence Yona Lwanga. During the auction phase today, the President's portrait raised 152 million after its auctioning by Lwemiyaga, a Member of Parliament, Theodorus Sechikubo. The Eritrean community contributed 81 million as well.
That took place on Lubya Hill in Kampala was presided over by the Archbishop of Kampala, His Eminence Metropolitan Yona Lwanga. During the auction phase today, the President's portrait raised 152 million after its auctioning by Lwemiyaga MP Theodorus Sechikubo. The Eritrean community contributed 81 million. President Museveni pledged 300 million, out of which he paid 30 million shillings cash.
Ati experience wano kwekunganya sente z'okuzimba ekelezia. Ekelezia mugambye nti yeetaaga obukadde buna n'ekitundu bwa dola. Sente nyingi si tono. Olwaleero ngenda kubasindikira obukadde 300.
Mr. Museveni also made a further pledge of 80 million towards the Orthodox Church Development Commission and 20 million shillings for the priests. President Museveni, who expressed happiness about the brotherhood among the Orthodox community in Uganda, said that he will mobilize resources to ensure that the cathedral construction project is fulfilled.
I saw the fraternity of the Orthodox, the Eritreans, the Ethiopians, the Egyptians, the Serbians, the Russians, the Greeks, although the Greeks have been having quite a few problems recently. So I'll use my diplomatic channels to mobilize resources from those areas to support the building of this church.
The president, who noted with pleasure that the Orthodox Church has 1.4 million members in Uganda, urged its leaders to mobilize their members towards poverty eradication, adding that it was now time for them to sensitize wananchi into commercial activities like modern agriculture, services, industries, and ICT.
Launch a campaign to educate your Orthodox Christians to engage in commercial activities in the 4 areas: commercial agriculture on a small scale, industries, services, border behavior, and ICT. There's a new industry which has come these days.
He observed that when wananchi have got good income, it will be easy for them to build their houses of worship. The Minister of Kampala, Honorable Betty Kamya, thanked God for the gift of President Museveni. She revealed that plans are well underway to launch the construction of 5 roads in Kampala's Rubaga division, in which the Rubya Cathedral project is located.
Era omwezi guno sebo president twatusiza okusaba ko ojjukulawo enguudo 5 ezigenda okukola ki okutandikibwako mu Rubaga ne mu Kampala okutwalira awamu. So ebintu bitambulira ddala.
First Deputy Katikkiro of Uganda, Twaha Kawase, who represented Katikkiro Charles Peter Mayiga while congratulating the Orthodox Church on its centennial occasion, said that Uganda means unity in diversity. Archbishop Yona Lwanga said that the wisdom of God forms the background of constructing Hagia Sophia Cathedral.
We felt it is good for us to resurrect this church here in Uganda.
I'm Dennis Blair Kalanzi and David Balinda in Kampala.
Congratulations to the Orthodox Church for making 100 years. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has launched a new book entitled Achievements of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to the Muslim community, written by Sheikh Sulaiman Gugwa, the Kampala regional Qadi. The ceremony took place today in Kasangati, Gayaza, Wakiso district. The president, who was the chief guest at the function, received Thanksgiving prayers led by Deputy Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Abdullah Semambo, thanking God for the president's family and the security in the country.
The function began with prayers led by the Deputy Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Abdullah Semambo, thanking God for the president's family and the security in the country. President Museveni was the chief guest at the launch of a new book entitled Achievements of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to the Muslim Community, written by Sheikh Sulaiman Gugwa, congratulated Sheikh Gugwa upon the successful authorship of the book that highlights the achievements of NRM.
I launched this book written by Sheikh Gugwa.
To the youth who were present at the function, President Museveni urged them to check on their leaders and see to it that the leaders were supporting their interests and those of the rural people.
kati nzira ku abanafu aba NRM abatasemberera bali abaana mwe bamulya byengedde. Aba NRM bebandi badde babasemberera ne babanyonyola ate nze siraba ekizibu ekinene kubanga nze bwe nfuna obudde ne njogera n'abavubuka bonna bafuna omusana.
He noted that it was only through prioritization that the youth would be able to create jobs for themselves. He also advised the youth in Wakiso district to form circles of people with similar skills that he would be able to financially support them, just like he has done with the Kasanda Boys group. The president further assured the youth that nobody can destabilize the peace of Uganda, adding that they must work hard and create jobs since the environment in the country is conducive.
Kuva mu binazi, kuva mu koko, kuva mu vanilla, kuva mu muchere, bafuna sente. Abekarangala kati bafuna sente ziva mu binazi.
Mr. Museveni hailed the RDC of Wakiso for being active and working hand in hand with Wananchi. The president received a rabbit and shoes from the ghetto youth of Chadondo that they had made from their own shoemaking workshop. During the ceremony, the president received over 500 converts from DP to the NRM. I'm Dennis Blair Kalanzi in Kampala.
Amazing story right there. Moving on, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, says mentorship for young people attempting to enter the job market needs to include support, encouragement and motivation. She notes role models and mentors who demonstrate a solid work ethic is able to guide and develop youth through character and relationship building.
The First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, says mentorship for young people attempting to enter the job market needs to include support, encouragement and motivation. She notes role models and mentors who demonstrate a solid work ethic are able to guide and develop youth through character and relationship building. Mrs. Museveni said this at the awarding ceremony of the first 11 cohort students for the Hill City Foundation Uganda Chapter Education Support Awards.
See an initiative like this, small as it may look right now, but even the Bible says don't look at the small beginnings and think they are nothing. This for me is a new beginning, and it gives a lot, should give all of us hope now that God is going to finally find a way to reach his people and Africa will be blessed.
The president of Hill City Foundation and managing director Total Uganda, Obi Imemba, says their target is to provide 50 university bursaries annually.
There's nothing that gives hope to a young person that when he finds somebody that is able to assure him that that you were in a situation that was close to him, and tell him that he can be better than you.
Hill City Foundation, the Uganda chapter, is an initiative of businessman Andrew Rugasira, who saw a similar program in Nigeria that has provided over 2,000 education support awards to youths. Remija Simbonye, UBC News.
Moving on, Pakwach District has released the third Northern Uganda Social Action Fund NUSAF progressive report, which covers activities conducted in the district since 2017. The report was released in the meeting of Pakwach District headquarters during NUSAF monitoring and evaluation visit by the State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kuyuchini. Haruna has more on the story.
The third Northern Uganda Social Action Fund project was aimed to provide effective income support and build the resilience of the poor and the vulnerable households in Northern Uganda. In Pakwach district, over 3 billion shillings was earmarked for NUSAF projects activities for the period of 5 years, but little has been achieved due to lack of proper supervision and monitoring by the NUSAF district officials.
When NUSAF first came, there were certain projects like the areas of infrastructure. We are grappling with the challenges of infrastructure, but our greatest areas of priority where we are grappling is the areas of education and health.
The progressive report released by Musa Charles Pakwach, NUSAF Development Officer, about the activity projects implemented as per the current financial year was debatable by the members.
Procurements without anybody from the district interfering. They only requested us to send them an expert to guide them what type of fingerlings they need to procure and the specification of it.
I have indications that the community are not being forced or they are not being surprised with a supplier from the NDO decision. They are making their own choice.
The report indicates 98 NUSAF sub-projects generated, but only 58 was approved and 432 members trained in livelihood skills.
The supplier who was the best bidder was someone from Arua, not even someone from within. He was given the contract, he delivered baby cows, not even bulls, baby cows. The community rejected. And when the community rejected, this supplier had to look for his own ways.
Flanked by the resident district commissioner and the chairperson of Pakwach district, the State Minister for Northern Uganda, Grace Kuchinyi, cautioned the district officials against denying people information about government projects.
Communities have been trained to procure what they can manage. But us here, we go around and we tell community lies. And the same community members believe us, and so they do the wrong thing. So I want you to confirm it or deny it.
Kuchinyi recommended the guidelines to follow in implementing watersheds and fish cage projects.
And we have to pick the achievements, the positive achievements, and flag it high. Why not? For me, that is the quarrel I have. That even the little achievement, nobody talks about it. If you meet anybody, they'll say they don't know. Okay, I understand, because it is not 100% target. But at least, if my brother has benefited, I should be able to appreciate.
Meanwhile, there was drama after the official meeting when the beneficiaries complained to the minister about some NUSAF officials in the district who demand kickbacks before approval of their projects. However, the implicated facilitators denied the allegations and referred the data from the group chairpersons. Kuchinyi ordered for the arrest of saboteurs for failing government projects.
Outright hate and sabotage, and it is true that type of person should be arrested because he's confusing people. Yes, a good politician should be able to tell the people what is good and what is wrong.
After the meeting, Kuchinyi visited the fish cage project at Mobogo landing site, ascertained the truth and the performance of NUSAF projects in Pakwach district. The minister advised the district on accountability, information dissemination, capacity building in Panyamol, Panyango, and Pakwach Town Council. Utesa Sida Haruna reporting in Pakwachi for UBC News.
Now, for anyone to do something effectively, it has to be with interest and passion, which is why he would prefer business and tourist ventures to politics. However, being a former first son, his appearance does not stop the attention that he draws from the public in what he describes as positive curiosity. Now, Godfrey Madaraka Nyerere, the son of Tanzania's founding president Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, is our personality for this week. Okurut has more on this.
Tanzania ndugu ya Uganda, Uganda ndugu ya Tanzania. Nyerere alisema kuamini, tushikisane tufanye pamoja.
The brotherhood between Uganda and Tanzania had existed for a long time until President Idi Amin attempted to break it, prompting his forced exit from office.
Let's talk briefly about the fact that President Obote and President Nyerere had similar views, similar ideologies, shared some similar ideologies. And so when Idi Amin came in, it was someone who did not have the same similar ideologies that President Obote had. And so it was already at that moment a situation where you had two individuals who did not see eye to eye with each other. And then the problem was made worse in 1979 when President Amin sent his army and invaded parts of Tanzania, and then that initiated a war between Uganda and Tanzania.
The problem was between two countries, not two families. That is why, when British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, recently organized a meeting between Nyerere and Amin's sons, there was no animosity.
Other than just knowing each other, we didn't. It's just, I would say, it's just the same as meeting any other individual and being friends with him. So it wasn't political. It wasn't. It didn't have any objectives other than meeting, putting us together, and sharing our experiences of the histories of Uganda and Tanzania.
Known by most Tanzanians as Madaraka, Godfrey Nyerere is the sixth born of the late President Mwalimu Julius Nyerere's children. A graduate of business administration and marketing, he is passionate about tourism, a venture he branched into after the death of his father in 1999. Mutiama, the place where Mwalimu was born and buried, received a large number of visitors, motivating his son to turn it into a tourism destination.
Specifically reflecting on his political legacy, and so we have a steady number of visitors visiting Butiama, and this is why I thought that it would be something useful to do, because I chose to move back to Butiama.
Tourism being one of the leading contributors to Tanzania's GDP, Godfrey Madaraka sees the venture as an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone, as it is often said.
And we are also quite close to some of the wildlife attractions of Tanzania, like the Serengeti. We have Lake Victoria close by. And generally, we have a large number of visitors visiting Butiama. But of course, we would like to raise that number so that people can learn more about Butiama, about its culture, and specifically of the historical legacy of Mwalimu Nyerere.
It has been a common feature for children of former presidents to venture into politics world over, including East Africa. In Kenya, the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta, is a son of the country's founding president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Similarly, it is reported that gearing up to replace Uhuru Kenyatta is Gideon Moi, the son of former President Daniel Arap Moi. In Uganda, Jimmy Akena, the son of former President, the late Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, is a member of parliament and the current president of Uganda People's Congress. In Tanzania, one of Madaraka's brothers, Charles Makongoro, took a shot in politics, including in the recent presidential elections that ushered in President John Pombe Magufuli.
Until recently, he was member of parliament in the East African Legislative Assembly, but he's also been member of parliament in Tanzania.
But as opposed to other first sons who have maintained their father's legacies by venturing into politics, Madaraka prefers tourism.
You know, I think if you choose to do something, you have to choose it out of interest. I'm sure you are doing something which maybe your parents did not do. So it's something which first it has to be based on the interests that you have. Until now, I haven't had that interest in going into politics.
And it is because of tourism that he was in Uganda to raise awareness about East African integration among the youth. He was in the company of 2016-2017 former Miss Tourism Kenya, Wendy Rabela Omoro.
So it's really important that Africa Mashariki first has taken this initiative to raise awareness among the youth, but we also have within that initiative an idea of having an online platform in which we can create awareness among the youth, and so as to link the historical objectives of integration with the current generation, so that we all move together and have the same basic purpose of ensuring that regional integration is realized and becomes possible.
To be honest, we're doing great. We had quite a fall in 2007, but 10 years later we have risen high and above, the ashes that we went back into. And more hotels are coming up, investors are coming to Kenya, the beaches, we're having a lot of beach houses coming up. And we're doing great. I believe in 2-3 years we'll be back to where we were, the hub of tourism. And I believe that with the East African community coming together, it's even going to be better, because what we don't have in Kenya, we can refer our tourists to come to see in Uganda. So we are stronger together. And
if you asked Madaraka Nyerere whether he has any free time to spend, this is what he will tell you.
Unfortunately, I don't have so much free time, very much free time. But when I have some free time, I do a lot of cycling. I like cycling, sometimes long distances. Recently I cycled from Dar es Salaam to Butiama, which is more than 1,000 kilometers. And I do a lot of reading also.
Madaraka, a former first son, who suffers what he describes as positive curiosity from the public, is passionate about East Africa's integration. He, however, blames the delay on failure to have constant focus, calling for the need to involve citizens in the process. Henry Okurut, Ubc.
On the king of Toro Kingdom, Rukirabasaija Oyonyimbe Kabamba Iguru IV has called upon his subjects in the nation at large to live a healthy life and guard against any act that destroys our environment. He was witnessing the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Toro Kingdom and Rotary Club of Muyenga at his palace that will see the planting of 10 million trees in his kingdom. Take a look.
As you are all aware, there is massive destruction of our rivers, forests, swamps, and many other natural resources, which, with the danger of global warming, is going to harm our generation and others to come. It is on this note that I direct the Prime Minister and all people in the entire kingdom to join me in preserving and conserving our environment. I hereby launch a 10 million tree planting campaign in Toro Kingdom.
He asked that we reach a memorandum of understanding for doing works of humanitarian help. And that's why we are here to launch the first activity of environmental protection by planting trees, and we have also launched an activity of giving people who have had accidents, people who have lost arms, we give them prosthetic hands, and the king has just launched that as well.
Now, State Minister for the Youth and Children Affairs, Florence Nachwala Chiyinji, has launched the Educate project, whose endeavour is towards equipping learners with more employable skills. Nachwala was at the Educate 2019 competitions at Sharing Hall in Zambia. Sentama has won the story.
Global trends are dictate that skills that were once needed are no longer applicable in the job market. With that spectre looming larger and real, Educator, which is an international organization that advocates for entrepreneurship amongst school-going children, has intensified its campaign.
Even if they have been the best in terms of academics, they also want these students to be prepared for life after school. Because you can get the distinctions and the grades, but if you are not able to turn them into real skills and be able to survive in this economy, then you are as good as nothing.
This in Uganda they are doing through the National Student Business Club competition.
Of course, at first it was not easy for us to penetrate under school. Why? Because there was this mindset, the negative mindset, that previously some NGOs had come to the school and did something fishy, so they had a bad attitude to do with NGOs.
It starts at regional level and has witnessed its 2019 final, graced by State Minister for Youth and Children Affairs, Nachwala Chiyinji.
Yeah, absolutely, because there is a saying that people think that the youth are useless, but in actual sense they are used less. So to speak, that when you engage them to trickle their minds and find out what they can do, this is what has come out today, that they are used less, so they should be used more.
The project aims at tackling youth unemployment by partnering with schools and government to reform what schools teach so that students have skills to start businesses, get jobs, and drive development in their communities.
So what we have to do now is to ensure reproduction and value addition to their ideas, incubate their ideas and then make them marketable from the brain to the supermarket. So that there we put barriers and support infrastructure in terms of imposing more taxes on similar products like dustbins, rugs, simple chairs, deco, art and craft, so that together we can create local demand in the East African community and within the Ugandan body.
The project, whose 2019 final had 42 schools and was won by Ntungamo High School, is an eye-opener to most of the participants.
So I think I've learned a lot from the competition, whereby I've seen new people, I've interacted with different gays and everything.
They really learn a lot. For example, me, I've seen a lot of stuff that I've never seen. Like, you can look at something, then you be like, what? Like, these people make them like with their own hands.
It's a first-time experience. It's so nice. We've learned a lot, and we've brought some of our products that we have bought.
There are over 1,000 student business clubs across the country, with more than 88% of them engaged in profitable business that caters for disadvantaged members' fees and also provide a loan scheme. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Now, the restructuring process in government hospitals has started to address the staffing gaps in the health sector. This was revealed by the State Minister for Health in charge of primary health care, Dr. Joyce Moriku Kaduchu, while officiating at the International Day of the Midwife held in Bara District, where midwives thanked government for increasing their salaries.
Uganda today joined the rest of the world to celebrate the International Day of the Midwife. On the theme Midwives, Defenders of Women's Rights, the day is celebrated annually to stand in solidarity with the midwives around the world to thank them for the life-saving work they do. At the national celebrations that took place at Intare School in Mbarara District, the smile on their faces was inevitable, thanks to government of Uganda that had their cry to increase their pay, according to the Acting Commissioner Health Services in charge of nurses and midwives, Petua Olobo Kiboko.
We want to thank His Excellency, the President of Uganda, through you, Honorable Minister, for the increment of the salaries. That enhancement was done and we are very grateful. And Honorable Minister, we are saying we are going to try our best to put our hands on the ground, to work and be there for the patients. But we want to be backed up.
As government, and most especially the President of the Republic of this country, is so passionate about the work of midwives and nurses. That is why the salary enhancement has really been directed to that effort, and we are grateful to the President, and we expect God to give him long life.
Dr. Joyce Moriku Kaduchu, Minister of State for Primary Health Care, says after addressing their remuneration, the ministry has embarked on a restructuring process countrywide to address the staffing gaps.
The Ministry of Health has been restructured so that it can accommodate the enlarging huge number of population. At regional level, the restructure started with Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital, such that we get more room for more people. And this restructuring from Mbarara is going to be replicated in other regional referral hospitals, and thereafter it goes to the district facilities.
With support from the government of Sweden, since 2010, the United Nations Population Fund has worked with the Ministries of Health and Education to improve midwifery standards, especially in hard-to-reach areas.
590 midwives have benefited from the midwifery training, bursary, and bonding program. So far, 451 of them, Honorable Minister, have completed the training, of which 306, representing 68%, have been deployed across the country. This has been one of the strategic interventions to address the midwifery deficit, especially in the hard-to-reach areas of the Karamoja region.
The contribution of midwives has seen a tremendous reduction in maternal mortality ratio from 506 deaths to 336 deaths per 100,000 live births between 2001 and 2016. At least 7 out of 10 births are conducted by a skilled provider, usually a midwife.
The 2014 midwifery report shows that access to skilled birth attendance could reduce maternal mortality by over 87%. Now, with fresh efforts by the Ministry of Health to address the staffing gaps in the underserved districts of Uganda, the country is on the right path to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal number 3 by 2030. Bernard Yiga reporting for UBC TV in Mbarara district.
In our business news, the Ministry of Science and Technology has been urged to consider formulating a one-stop center for innovators across the country in a move to share experience and coordination that will advance technology sector growth in Uganda. Now, this is a resilient African network affiliated to Makerere University, which engages successful innovators who describe their journey of life in a fireplace gathering, which also attracted young entrepreneurs from various institutions. We have on this story.
It's now, in Kenya, like you talk.
In the old tradition setting, a fireplace is a solution to draw wisdom from elders' experience through poetic stories, traditional remedies, among others. In regards to this, Resilient African Network designed a fireplace to nurture and scale innovations that attracted young entrepreneurs who also interacted with some of the successful innovators in Uganda. The move aims at sharing journey of life and hope in the technology and innovation sector to attract more youth to the industry.
Is doing any sort of
Among the participants is the popular founder of Safeboda, Ricky Rapa, founder of Exente, Alan Rakatunju, and Philippa Ngaju Makobore, who developed a medical device used by patients in need of fluids resuscitation.
From the onset, from the point go, there should be a component of scale. And it could be broken down into what we call short-term, which could be like day-to-day activities that I need to do to make my company stand. And then you go to mid-term, and then in like the next 6 months, what is it that I want to do? Or in the next 1 year, what is it that I want to do?
Right? So our solution really is aiming to bring Africa and Africans, both consumers and businesses, into the digital economy, thus formalizing their finance and formalizing their commerce. And we feel like once we do that, we will raise the entire and we're very ambitious, the entire continent out of poverty.
So step by step, we started developing it, and it was not fully automated. You know, when we did our first proof of concept, it was not automated, but we had the idea of how we would approach the automation.
Deborah Nantjuna, the engagement manager at Resilient Africa Network, advises the Ministry of Science and Technology to reflect on creating a one-stop center that will bring together entrepreneurs, especially innovators, to incubate and share knowledge of how to develop the industry.
This ministry, if it could coordinate us, synergize us, and galvanize us to all speak the same language and to all work together so that we are not working in silos. I am here, I'm building my app. Another person at probably another hub is also building their app, but we don't have like a central place where we can compare and see who is doing that, who is doing this.
The number of youth indulging into entrepreneurship in Uganda increases day by day. However, the burden is left with inadequate funding, poor skills of management, and weak protection of intellectual property rights, among many challenges.
The policy makers, our members of parliament, our ministers, healthcare has to be prioritized. We need to invest in developing our own tools that can solve our own problems. We need to empower our own people, and the only way that we can do that is to actively put money in and resources so that we can build infrastructure and we can develop these tools.
It is a toddler. It still needs breast milk. It still needs nurturing. It will not survive on its own. Yes, and it needs everybody to just nurture it until it can, survive on its own.
Daniel Mugoya reporting.
In about between 2012 to 2013, that's when
In our international news, Pope Francis has begun a 3-day visit to Bulgaria and North Macedonia aimed partly at improving relations with the Orthodox Church. Now, the Pope met Orthodox leaders in Bulgaria on Sunday, but they had already rejected taking part in joint services or prayers with him. The Vatican has long been pushing for unity between the two branches of Christianity, which split in 1054. The two Balkan countries have tiny Catholic communities. The pontiff's arrival in Bulgaria on Sunday marked the first visit by a pope to the country in 17 years. Now, the trip to North Macedonia will be the first by a pope and comes just months after and as it votes for a new president. Central to Balkan trip is the Vatican's desire to heal the 1,000-year-old schism that has divided Christianity. The Pope met Orthodox Patriarch Neophyte and visited an Orthodox cathedral in the capital, Sofia, on Sunday. But the Bulgarian Orthodox Church rejected the idea of joining prayers or services with him. In what is being viewed as an effort not to upset other Orthodox churches, the Pope is not expected to meet privately with North Macedonia Orthodox Primate Stephen in his upcoming visit. In our sports news, Uganda's national netball team, the She Cranes, has beaten Zimbabwe's national team, the Gems, 57-53 in a friendly game played at the Ellen Villa Arena in Nachirebe along Massacre Road. Uganda head coach Vincent Chiwanuka chose Irene Eyaru, Stella Oyela, Ruth Meme, Jessica Achan, Florence Nanyonga, Lilian Ajio and Shafi Nalwanga as starters in this game. A closely contested first quarter, it ended 17-15 for Uganda, with the second quarter also witnessing little to separate the sides as Uganda led 33-30. By the end of third quarter, Uganda was 8 points ahead, 49-41, and a late Zimbabwe onslaught in the final quarter didn't yield much as Uganda ran away 57-53 victors. The friendly game was good for the She Cranes that looked shaky in defense and lacked an answer to Zimbabwe's wing attacker Perpetua Sietema. The technical bench promises to work on such details through the friendly games lined up to enable Uganda compete ably in England alongside the hosts Samoa and Scotland in Group D. This tri-series that continues on Monday aims at enabling Ugandan players get ample match fitness ahead of the Netball World Cup in England in July. Congratulations to the She Cranes. Moving on, organizers of the corporate games have promised to continue availing technical persons from local federations to enable companies adapt to the disciplines they take part in. Now, corporate games vice chairperson Richard Okwot says this aims at ensuring these companies master the basic and thus increased level of competition for the games that have witnessed their May outing at Nambole Stadium. Senta John Barnes has won the story.
So what we have done, we always bring in technical people who can come and train people on how to play the games. Like, for example, football. We have a team from the federation that come here every outing and set the fairways, so that people, the corporates who know how to play football can be able to play very well. Like in the same case for other games, that as corporate games, much as these games are for fun, but we also want people to get to know how to play these games. That's why we do our best to bring experts who are able to take these corporates through and they're able to play this game very well. As corporate games, competition is not a priority. We have a standard that must be followed, and we do not tolerate uncouth behaviors. So whoever does not comply with our standard definitely will be expelled. So we call upon all Ugandans, all people in this country, that come to Nambole every first Sunday of the month and have fun. Come with your family. Come with your children, because we have Kids League. We want these children to identify the talents. That's why we have people who train up the children when they come for this outing. We have instructors. Let's take the children through. And also this year, in September, we shall have the second corporate run in this country. We shall have the run for a cause to support expectant mothers in this country.
Thank you so much, John Vance, for that wonderful story. Moving on, Uganda ladies national cricket team has started the ICC Women's T20 tournament in Zimbabwe with a 90 runs victory over Sierra Leone. Damali Businje was the star performer for the She Cranes. For the She Cricket Cranes that continued its quest for the African crown on Monday with a date against Namibia that beat Kenya by 39 runs. We talked to Damali Businje, head coach Mike Ondiko, and assistant team captain Janet Mbabazi, who talked about the game today at Harare Cricket Club and also about what lays ahead for us at the 9-team tournament. Sentama John Man still has more on this story.
Batting throughout, because that is what Checho team cheyagala nkoleche, like at least batop openers ababera batting right now watch your makoleche asigale nira esanyiso nyo okubanga asigade nenzanya paka overs esempeyo chilala win esosa being the first win of the tournament ebere tuwa moral tugene n'amanyi ncha tuzanye n'amanyi atweyongere.
Tomorrow you play Namibia, who beat your rivals Kenya. What's the team plan, and what's the feeling about Namibia?
I think if we get the bowling change right and reading the players, the batsmen, Namibia is quite a good team, and we just need to be smart in the head while making ball change and fielding.
Yes, tomorrow is going to definitely be a tougher game, especially knowing that Namibia is stronger than they were 2 years ago. They beaten Kenya today. It's definitely going to be a bigger challenge, but back to us, we're going to look to be more clinical and more professional about our game. The ladies are going to look to bat better and look to learn from the mistakes of today and execute better in their skills, in their different roles and responsibilities. And even in the bowling, we're going to look to be more disciplined, to be able to bowl well and bowl in a competitive way, to be able to pull off the win against Namibia.
That brings us to the end of our news bulletin at 10 p.m. Thank you so much for watching UBC News Tonight with me, Sharon Chomdusha, and Nakakoni Elizabeth on Sign Language. We'll take a look at the headlines for the last time. Museveni contributes 300 million to Orthodox Church. Entrepreneurs call for one-stop center. Pope Francis visits Orthodox Church. In our sports news, She Cranes beats Zimbabwe 57-53 in friendly.